Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at a replay submitted by Dr. Skyrim playing in his Ohio. Okay, so starting off getting into this replay, one thing you will notice is we're already part way through it, as the friendly team has they've just flipped their second capture point, and that's because Skyrim does unfortunately crash when he loads into this game, so he is a little bit late to it, but the end result for this game does show that you don't really need to be there for the first few minutes, because he does pull off one hell of a result. Now, starting off, he does start shooting off at the Minotaur, and there are a couple of things in this replay that will really show its age. So, the build on screen at the moment is probably the first thing, that's the build that's currently being run at the moment, or at least how he's running his Ohio at the moment, but in this game, the build that he was using wasn't that one, because it was actually Deadeye. So that, along with a few of the things you will probably spot in this replay, mainly with team damage, it does show it's a much older replay, and definitely does indicate that I need to get through my replay submissions a little bit quicker. But getting back onto this replay, it's a relatively short game, as you'll probably have worked out by the length of this video, and he is aiming at the enemy Minotaur now, but it is very, very good. Now, the first few minutes here, they are a little bit slow, as it is more just maximum range shooting because he's trying to get in position, but once this thing gets into brawling range, you really do know about it. So, Ohio, it is a relatively expensive ship because it does cost 62,000 research points, which, if you have tried getting some of these Research Bureau ships, you will know it does take quite a decent amount of time to actually get them, so it really is one hell of a time investment, and it is why it's quite a common pick in clan battles as well, because it's a really powerful ship. So Ohio, you will notice it does only have 8 guns, so it's similar to Montana, but instead the thing that you, I guess, get differently compared to Montana is you get much larger guns, because they sit at 457mm, which gives them some real punch, and alongside that you also get some incredibly good accuracy, as you just saw there, as he managed to snipe completely, not sideways on, but he was completely the smallest target he could possibly hit and still managed to get a Citadel through the rear, which turned out to be rather nice. Now, at the same time, it also has a really good repair party, because the base cooldown is 40 seconds long, which does come in very handy this game, as you'll see, and overall it's just a very good pick, because, as I was about to say, it also has a beautiful array of secondary batteries, which are currently unloading on the Shimakaze, who, although they do have a low amount of HP, they do stay alive for a very long amount of time in this game. So, as we're getting into this game, so thankfully he did see the torpedo, well, he does see the Shimakaze starts turning in and narrowly misses one of those torpedoes, but the friendly Hyzan does not get so lucky there, but he is starting to push in, because this team does have a very strong hold on the map, so you can currently see they've got A, C and D, and the enemy teams have only got B, but over at B it looks like they are pretty much held back there, so they've got a Minotaur, Kutuzov, Chroma, and overall they are just holding that side of the map down quite well, and on Skyrim's side they are doing exactly the same. Now, at the moment, Skyrim is walking into somewhat of a crossfire, so you can currently see there's a Sovetski Soyuz on the map there. To his left there is also a Tirpitz, a Megami, and then to his right a Tirpitz is also getting into position, so this is going to be quite worrying, but you're about to see, this threat is going to be very quickly mitigated, as this Sovetski Soyuz does show a nice broadside coming out the island, and yep, 54,000 damage. And with that, the secondaries are coming in to try and finish them off, but unfortunately those are landing, and they do appear to be hitting the armor belt, and, well, not really doing any damage, so he's going to have to wait for his main batteries to reload. But yeah, I don't think the Sovetski Soyuz is going to be lasting much longer, there we go, 1-0. And unloads the entire salvo there just to confirm the kill, and that is the Sovetski Soyuz out. And within just a couple of minutes there, I think that's with about 4 minutes of gameplay, already that is nearly 100,000 damage, which is incredibly good, and starts moving on to his next target. Now, the problem here is he's getting himself into a very worrying position here. So he's got a Megami and a Tirpitz to his left, he has a Tirpitz to his right alongside a Shimakaze, so torpedo threat from both sides, and also the threat of some relatively high caliber guns as well as the secondaries coming from both of these ships. So he does need to take one of these ships out very quickly, or get into a position of safety, which out in the middle of the open is going to be relatively hard, but I mean, he's taking these hits like a champ, but yeah, there we go. Those are the Shimakaze torpedoes, which means he needs to start turning in. And at the same time, you'll also notice there is the Megami there who is turning away, and you've been right in thinking that they've probably launched torpedoes, because the Megami has got 10-kilometer torpedoes, and that Megami is currently a little bit over 8 kilometers away, so you're about to see there are going to be some additional, yeah, there we go, additional targets to avoid there, but does manage to just about thread that needle very nicely there, because I can imagine if he didn't manage to avoid that torpedo, that would have been pretty much the end there, and there we go. 2 hits, 2 citadels, that is the Megami dealt with. But although those 2 threats are now pretty much, they can't really do much, the Tebbits and Megami can't really do much at the moment in terms of damage, so it is just the Shimakaze and Tebbits behind them that are going to be able to do anything. But this is where the very fast reload of the repair party comes in clutch here as well, because he's currently got 2 fires, his damage control is currently on cooldown, and he has 2 fires running for 30 seconds, so these are the only things that are keeping him alive, and so he's doing the right thing here in getting past this island, running away as fast as possible, and thankfully the friendly Minotaur did just knock out the Tirpitz, so at this point it's just a fact of, okay, stay alive as long as possible, and he does just repair that fire, run away, get behind the island so the Shimakaze can't launch any more torpedoes, because I can imagine they probably would, and then just try and wait for his his repair party to come off cooldown. Now, Skyrim is executing a healthy portion of caution here, because the Megami around this corner does still have torpedoes, I'm assuming, and so with that, he needs to kind of get around this corner, but at the same time he needs to get out of the way because he is taking fire from what appears to be the Shimakaze, as those are HE shells coming in, and yeah, coming from that smoke you can see them, and unfortunately those do set a fire, but that is at the same time that he gets his repair party back, so he's going to be able to stay alive, but after this he needs to be incredibly cautious because, and there we go, there are some of the torpedoes as well, because that is the last of his repair parties, so he's got no more additional HP, so anything he loses past this point now is just going to be that's what he's stuck with, and he just needs to stay alive for the sake of his team. Now over on the left side of the island, if you have been looking at the map, the enemies have finally managed to somewhat push away the friendlies, and they are currently flipping alpha, but the amount of points difference here, you can see it's looking quite good, and this is what I mean by it does show its age in this replay, since yeah, that's a torpedo warning for friendly torpedoes, so this is before the team damage was disabled, and this Tirpitz is coming around the corner, and I mean, I can see why he is. You see an Ohio on 10k, you're going to want to go for it, but the guns aren't even turning towards him, allowing Skyrim to get a 25,000 damage salvo, but considering the Tirpitz hasn't fired, that's quite worrying. I mean, because there's probably a good chance he's going to be able to knock him out, and as you can see, the guns are now aiming at him. Fires, and luckily those predominantly bounce off the armor belt there, which is incredibly lucky there, because I think if the Tirpitz had decided to instead fire at the superstructure there and try and get damage that way, he probably would have been able to confirm the kill, or at least get him low enough and let his secondaries finish him off, but instead he does unfortunately fumble that, allowing Skyrim to continue sailing along, and yeah, you can clearly see this is pretty much a win, because the Minotaur, they have got 3,000 HP, the Hosokarfast has just been knocked out by the friendly Roma, and the only other ship is the Shimakaze, which I don't think they're going to be able to do particularly much in the next minute and 7 seconds. And so far, 214,000 damage, incredibly nice, and he's trying to confirm the kill on the Minotaur, which is fair enough because they've got 3 caps. They've got 930 points to 141. There's no real way you could mess this up, and unfortunately doesn't manage to get the kill there, but the friendly Shungmu does, and now it's just the enemy Shimakaze with 14 seconds left on the clock, so that's basically game, and it just shows you the incredible power that you can really have in the Ohio, and you can just see the Shimakaze is dying, so it's either this or the clock runs out, and that right there is game. So here we are on the end result screen, and this is a modded end result screen because it does have some Azure Lane mods installed, but that still doesn't stop you seeing the pretty insane result that he managed to get by the end of this game. So 216,000 damage there, which, considering he crashed at the start and lost a significant amount of time there, it just shows you how much this thing can do, and just generally shows this is a perfect ship when you are getting in close quarters combat and just overall brawling, because Well, you can see, I mean, only 36 main battery hits there, and 137 secondary hits, and that is an incredible amount of damage. Plus, you can see he did get what appears to be the Fireproof Award, the Dreadnought Award, and the High Caliber Award, so overall, very nice indeed. Now, if we look at the Team Score Award, well, the Team Score, sorry, real quickly as well, you can see he did come second place there, only second to the Kutuzov, but 1,884 base experience there, which is incredibly good. So, overall, a very nice performance. Then we'll just have a quick look at the detailed report. So, 80k on the first Tiapets. 63,000 on the Sovietsky Soyuz, 32 on the Megami, 26 on the Mino, 12 on the Tabbets, and a little bit on the Shimakaze, which I'm assuming is from secondary. So overall, very, very nice there. And you can see main batteries, 180,000 damage from 36 hits, 110 fired. That is impressive. So just really shows it is a worthwhile ship to grind for. But apart from that, that does bring us to the end of the video. So thank you very much for that submission. I do apologise, it's incredibly late compared to when it was submitted, but even so, we're getting through them slowly now. But with all that said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.